Hi, I'm Jeanette Roche. This is Bridge City News. Here are some of the top stories we've been following. Residents in some northern Manitoba communities told to evacuate as wildfires threaten. Plus, for the first time ever, a woman leading the Royal Canadian Air Force. And a love letter put in a bottle 13 years ago in Newfoundland arrives on the shores of Ireland.
Your nation. Your province. Your southern Alberta. From the heart of Lethbridge, it's Bridge City News with Jeanette Roche.
Thanks so much for joining us. The province of Manitoba has declared a province-wide state of emergency due to the threat from wildfires. Premier Wab Kinew says the wildfire situation has dramatically changed in the past 24 hours.
So we had Snow Lake face a really tough fire situation yesterday, and they moved to a mandatory evacuation. We have a large number of people coming out of that community. And then earlier today, Garden Hill First Nation also declared a mandatory evacuation, and there's more than 4,000 people who will be coming out of that First Nation. In Garden Hill, the Canadian Armed Forces arrived on the ground yesterday evening with a Hercules aircraft. They also brought in a team to help plan the evacuation of that community. Today, there are many Hercules flights planned to move out a number of people, as well as commercial flights. The primary reason that we have called this latest state of emergency is because we need access to more facilities to be able to shelter this large number of Manitobans who are being forced to flee their homes due to wildfires. In the first round of the wildfire season, of course, you know that we stood up the Leela facility. That has been stood up again recently, and there were people staying there last night. We expect many, many more to be staying there tonight. City of Winnipeg, another excellent partner, has stepped up with the Billy Mosienko Arena. And very shortly, under the emergency powers, we will be moving forward with an order so that we have access to the RBC Convention Centre in downtown Winnipeg.
Kinew says members of the newly formed Indigenous-led Spirit team will once again be traveling to hotels and shelters, making sure evacuees have what they need. History was made today in Canada for the first time ever. A woman will lead the Royal Canadian Air Force. Lieutenant General Jamie Spicer Blanchette has taken the reins from Lieutenant General Eric Kenney at a change of command ceremony in Ottawa today. Kenney is retiring after 3.5 decades of service in the Air Force. Spicer Blanchette has served as a Griffin helicopter pilot and in various command roles, most recently as a deputy commander of the Air Force.
It is an honor beyond words to be standing here as the commander of the Royal Canadian Air Force. So I'm feeling many emotions right now, but above all, I am profoundly grateful for the journey that brought me here and for the incredible support and strength that I have received from many of you in this room and for some who I know are watching online. This is a pivotal moment to assume command. We're facing the shifting security landscape and rapid technological change, a lot of the challenges that have just been described. It's a time that requires leadership with clarity and purpose. It's very exciting and it's very sobering.
Alberta's education minister has followed through on his promise to develop new provincial rules for school library books. Dimitrios Nicolaides announced in May that there would be a review after his ministry became aware of 4 coming-of-age graphic novels in school libraries in Edmonton and Calgary. Nicolaides says the books contained inappropriate content, including graphic sexual material, as well as depictions of molestation, drug and alcohol use.
Under the new standards, school libraries are not permitted to include material containing explicit sexual content. Non-explicit sexual content may be accessed to students in grades 10 and above, provided it is age appropriate. These terms are defined in the ministerial order. School boards must also regularly review their school library collections, publish a full list of all available materials, and ensure that a staff member supervises student access to school library materials.
School boards have until October 1st to remove any materials with explicit sexual content and must have publicly available policies that align with the new standards for selecting and managing library materials by January 1st of 2026. The Alberta government has appointed the first commissioner and founding member in the Compassionate Intervention Commission. Jonathan Carlson will begin a 3-year term as commissioner starting on August 11th. He is a lawyer with more than 23 years of experience in the legal field, including administrative and ethics law and litigation. He has held various senior roles with the Alberta Court of Appeal, Alberta Health Services, and the Government of Alberta. The Compassionate Intervention Act became law back in May. It lays out the criteria, guidelines, and process for a family member, guardian, healthcare professional, or police officer to force people with severe substance addictions into involuntary treatment. As commissioner, Carlson will be responsible for approving applications. His decisions can be challenged in court. A portion of Scenic Drive was temporarily closed off by Lethbridge police today due to a high-risk incident. There are currently no details released on what transpired, but video shows the tactical team was deployed to a residential area around the 2300 block of 22 Street South. Scenic Drive across the road from 20th to 24th Avenue South was closed and traffic was uncomfortably redirected. Demands from a loudspeaker regarding a search warrant was overheard and a loud bang shortly followed. Police say they resolved the incident about 90 minutes after releasing the warning, and regular traffic has since resumed. At Thursday's Economic and Finance Committee meeting in Lethbridge City Hall, the board was given a presentation on exploring upgraded and expanded services at Lethbridge Airport. Currently, one WestJet flight departs and arrives to and from Calgary, a change from 3 flights daily, but now using larger aircraft with more seating to keep rates down for travelers. The city is looking to take steps to enhance services by collecting origin and destination travel data throughout this year. The airport's manager has added that reliability is high and residents should be encouraged to choose YQL on their way to Calgary and YYC's connected destinations.
So the biggest challenge right now for regional airports in general, especially in Canada, is the aircraft size. So we've seen a change in the industry over the last few years where airlines are moving to bigger airplanes because they are actually cheaper per seat to operate. And so this makes it difficult to operate a number of frequencies out of smaller airports. We're continuing to see that after COVID that really changed the industry, and it's continuing to still evolve. So we're just monitoring that, and we're trying to find the best way to see where we fit in that and grow it from there. Overall, it seems that the reception's been good. So people who are actually flying out and choosing to fly to Lethbridge, overall has been very positive. Like I said, it's a much bigger airplane. It is more comfortable. It is more reliable. So it's overall a much better experience when you do choose to fly out of YQL now. It's just a matter of getting the public to understand that it's different than what it was before, and that it can be relied upon.
YQL additionally provides essential services such as medevac flights, flight training, and private aviation. Well, if you haven't had the chance to head out to the Calgary Stampede, there's still time. VCN's Naveen Day was at Stampede Park this week to learn some Stampede facts and how one person repurposed beer bottles to celebrate sobriety.
You know, when you're at an event with the reputation as the greatest outdoor show on earth, it's a no-brainer that there will be crowds. Expect long lineups for rides, food, and entrance to performances and other attractions. Now, one thing that I've noticed with the rides when I was here on Sunday evening is the operators are running them a bit shorter, maybe around the 2-minute mark, so that should help the line for rides move quicker. But with the hordes of people comes some great economic benefits to our province and Canada. Manager of Communications and Media Relations, Judy Forget, goes over the numbers.
Now, looking at 2024's number, by end of day Tuesday last year, we had a cumulative of 770,703 people walk through that gate. It's Wednesday, 2025. Where are we at with that, with attendance so far?
It's been a great year so far. We are actually above last year, which was a record setter. Last year we had 1.47 million people come through the gates, So we are above that this year. Everything is looking great. Today is family day, so there's lots of people coming into park today. Who knows, we might be setting another record this year. We shall see.
Okay, and then there's also like a lot of economic benefits
Yes.
to both Canada and the province. So last year, I'm just looking at these numbers here, the year-round economic benefit to Alberta was $540 million, but over the 10 days, that 282 million was brought in. Now, where was that revenue generated from? Was that like directly from Stampede, or was that indirect, like say like hotels and restaurants and etc.?
I think it's the overall economic benefit that we bring to Calgary. So I think a large part of that is obviously people coming onto park, buying things, buying foods, buying tickets. But then, as you mentioned, of course, it's the hotels, it's the restaurants. Everybody gets the benefit of the Stampede when it's in town.
If you're at Stampede and maybe it's a little bit of rain is falling down, you can always go into the BMO Center because it's basically like one huge shopping mall in here. But there's a lot of like local exhibitors here, and I'm here with one of them. I'm here with Kimberly from Recovered Candle Co. And you've got quite an amazing story here because these candles are actually made from beer bottles, and it's to celebrate sobriety apparently. So let's hear more about that.
Yes, absolutely. I made my first beer bottle candle 6 years ago to celebrate someone who was celebrating a milestone in recovery after receiving 15 bouquets of flowers. I thought there has to be something better and something that has meaning. And I took an old boozy throwaway bottle and I repurposed it into a light, which is symbolizing what we do in recovery when we get sober.
So is this something that you do part-time?
I now do it full-time. I used to be an accountant, and now I am a full-time traveling candle maker.
Okay, so accountants actually make really good money. I actually did a little bit of studying to become an accountant, and then I got into media. Yeah. So I know that accountants can do very, very well. But you left all that to do shows and sell this. So you don't have to give me numbers or anything like that. But how well can someone do by touring around different shows?
You can do very well if you do something that you love and you have a product that resonates with the customer and a story that goes with it. I mean, I've had great success with it, but it also allows me to live a lifestyle that's a lot less stressful than being an accountant.
All right, thank you so much, Kimberly. That was Kimberly with Recovered Candle Co. Thank you. The last day to attend this year's Calgary Stampede is July 13th. Jeanette?
Well, thank you so much, Naveen, for that update. I'm looking forward to see what you have for us tomorrow. Can't wait for that. Well, every Wednesday during the summer, Festival Square is dressed up just like a fair, bringing the best of the region's local goods to the community. You'll find everything from farm fresh produce and artisan baking to handcrafted goods and homegrown creativity, like books and traditional sauces. The Wednesday Farmers Market runs from July 2nd right through August 27th from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. And the theme this year is Shop Local.
And we're selling our books. She writes romance, sweet and spicy, and I write literary fiction, women's fiction. So it's strong women going through tough times, and the end of the book is always leaving you in a good place. Amazon and Facebook and all those things, you're not really connecting face-to-face with your readers, whereas here we can actually talk to readers about our books. But I consider the fact that I'm homegrown talent, so therefore I could belong to a farmer's market. And so yeah, we came down and we're having a good time.
It's the first time I've come to Lethbridge for a farmer's market. I've been doing this for 2 years now. I started in Brooks, and that's where I'm based out of. This is my first time I've been able to get to you guys' market. I've got very traditional and very unique sauces. Things that are sweet, heat, and they're barbecue sauces, condiments, and table sauces. Today has been fairly good. My first time coming here, I wasn't sure what to expect, so I overpacked in hopes. The traffic's been great today. The people have been very good. It's been very consistent almost all day.
Since 1962, Lethbridge and District Exhibition has put on the market with 80% of its market products made, baked, or grown right here in Alberta. Those sauces looked so good. There's so much happening right now. So with a huge classic car cruise scheduled for this weekend, Lethbridge police are urging caution for all motorists and pedestrians taking part in the event. The Lethbridge Street Wheelers will hit the road Friday night, closing 3rd Avenue South from 5th Street to 20th Street. Additionally, the 100-foot dash is expected to bring heavy traffic to the exhibition grounds. The roads encircling Gull Gardens will be closed to regular regular traffic for the cruise on Friday night and the show and shine throughout Sunday. LPS says the weekend often presents an opportunity for improper driving behavior in the city, and major roads like 3rd Avenue South and Mayor McGrath Drive have been hot spots for stunting, speeding, and various traffic violations.
With this many people attending the city, the traffic will be largely increased and delays will be expected. We want people to enjoy the event. However, in response to that, we'll have multiple additional members on duty, including sheriffs, for the entire weekend, focusing on unruly behaviors, speeding, stunting, excessive noise, vehicle equipment regulations, impaired driving, and distracted driving. Last year's event, members issued 124 tickets, 9 impaired drivers, 7 criminal code charges, 10 outstanding warrants were executed, and 12 vehicles were towed for various infractions. And also 50 warnings were issued for the weekend.
Summer is the time of year when we enjoy outdoor activities, and for that, the City of Lethbridge offers places for safe enjoyment and recreation. For residents to stay cool, there are the public water stations available in different parks. Nicholas Sharon, Legacy Henderson Lake, and as well as in the downtown area, Galt Gardens. There, the stations connect to hydrants, providing a continuous water source, while for recreation, the city invites the community to visit Henderson Pool and the spray parks located in Legacy Regional Park and the Rotary Centennial Fountain at Galt Gardens. And we finish off this portion of the news with a love story. 13 years after it was dropped in the ocean, a Newfoundland couple's romantic message in a bottle has been found on a beach in Ireland. Martha Farrell, co-founder of the Maharis Conservation Association in Ireland, says after they found the bottle, they went on a Facebook search to find Anita Squires.
It was unbelievable because we didn't know what had become of this very romantic couple. Our project is about coastal resilience and climate adaptation, and we were wondering, is this love story, is this romance resilient? And would they still be together? And I remember she would have sent a private message into our Facebook account at 12 midnight for me. And so, you know, I said, oh my God, we were toasting you this evening, you and Brad. And I said, please tell me one thing, are you still together? Because we're dying to know. And she said, yes. It's so funny that they're married since 2016, have children. And we were like, oh my God, we were holding our breath. Because it seems like the perfect ending to this wonderful message in a bottle love story.
So September 14th, 2012, Anita and Brad's day trip to Bell Island. Today we enjoyed dinner, this bottle of wine and each other on the edge of the island. If you find this, please call us at 709. Anita and Brad.
To Anita and Brad.
We call them.
Isn't that so cute? I mean, how many people actually find messages in bottles and then to find out the couple is still together? So cool. And speaking of cool, we had a bit of a change of weather today, quite a drop in temperature this afternoon, and could see some thunderstorms this evening, but it's back up to the high 20s on Friday. Don't go away. The full forecast is coming up along with business news. Well, we reached our high of 20 degrees today, and then it quickly dropped this afternoon to only 11 degrees. Oh, that is so much colder than it has been the past few days, and much too cold for July, I must say. Also could see a few thunderstorms this evening. Overnight low of only 7 degrees. As we get into Friday, though, we are back up to normal temperatures, actually above normal. High of 26 on Friday, 29 on Saturday with those clear skies. Sunday, warm but wet. We're seeing 31 degrees, but showers and rain that day. Monday, also looking at some rain, temperature dropping to 16 degrees, and then up to 19 on Tuesday with a 60% chance of rain, and then back to 24 degrees, which is seasonal for Wednesday to round out that 7-day forecast with a mix of sun and clouds. So average high for this time of year, 25 degrees, average low 10. 38 was the record high on this day in Lethbridge back in 1973, and in 1922, and again in 27, we saw the record low here, which was only 4 degrees. I was complaining about 11 in July. Talk about 4 being chilly. Okay, sun rose this morning at 5:35. Our sun is set this evening, going to be setting at 9:38 p.m. 2 minutes of less daylight than we saw yesterday. So now we're getting into the less. So 16 hours, 3 minutes of daylight today. On the west coast tomorrow, nice and sunny, 24 for the high in Victoria, 18 the closer you are to the water, 24 also in Vancouver, but just the opposite. Go inland more and you're going to hit more like 27 degrees. Sunshine in Edmonton, high of 26. Calgary, they've had a cooler, wetter one today, but back tomorrow to 25 degrees and sunshine in Calgary. Looking to Saskatchewan, we're going to see some local smoke in certain areas here. So Saskatoon seeing some sunshine, high of 25 degrees, but local smoke there. Regina could see a 60% chance of showers clearing by the afternoon. Local smoke, high of 22 degrees and 23 for the high in Winnipeg. Winnipeg could see some showers and a chance of thunderstorms. Also, Winnipeg late this afternoon and into this evening, seeing a severe thunderstorm watch there. Toronto tomorrow and Ottawa both looking at 30 degrees. Warm, a mix of sun and cloud in both of those cities as well. Montreal, high of 28, also partly cloudy skies there. Now, as we get into the Maritimes, Atlantic Canada, Fredericton could see 28 degrees, also a little bit of showers there. Halifax expecting 5 millimeters of showers in the morning. Could see a risk of a thunderstorm by the afternoon, high of 19 there. 17 for the high in Charlottetown with some showers and high of 25 degrees in St. John's, mix of sun and clouds. So there you have it. That is your forecast. Optimism is building for a rebound in real estate activity in Canada, but experts say a sluggish condo market means those looking to upgrade to a house face tough choices, such as deciding to sell now for a lower price or waiting out the storm. A report last month by the National Housing Agency said condo sales have dropped by 75% in the Greater Toronto Area and 37% in the Vancouver area since 2022. It came as inventories more than doubled and prices fell. Purdy's Chocolatier is coming to some Western Canadian grocery stores. The Vancouver-based confectionery company has forged a deal with Pattison Food Group's Save On Foods. This will be the first time in its 118-year history that Purdy's sells its products outside of its own stores. Purdy's says the Buy Canadian movement has sparked a massive spike in interest for its products.
Since 1907, we have only sold through our own channels, our own shops, 84 plus across the country now, and our online channels, and through our group and fundraising programs. But we saw this demand. As I said, it came from the customers telling us they wanted access. And we obviously cannot be in every community across the country. And so how could we give more Canadian options within the grocery environment to more Canadians who were looking for Canadian options? And so this partnership sprung from that. We see this as a stepping stone. We are committed to this test, and it's mostly in Western Canada at this point. But we are looking to see how successful this is, and if customers continue to want this product in their grocery environments, we will be looking for more partners into the future.
Well, this next story will be interesting, especially for those of us who are always on the hunt for a good handbag. The original Birkin bag has sold at an auction in Paris for 7 million euros, or roughly $11 million Canadian. Even with all the scuffs, scratches, and stains, auctioneer Sotheby's says bidding for the handbag started at 1 million euros and quickly became stratospheric. Fashion house Hermes exclusively commissioned the bag for London-born actor and singer Jane Birkin back in 1984. Isn't that interesting? Now here's a look at today's markets.
The TSX was up 109 points on the day to finish at 27,082. The Dow was up 192 to 44,650. The S&P 500 was up 17 points to 6,280, and the Nasdaq was up 19 to 20,630. West Texas Intermediate oil was down $1.54 to 66.84 US per barrel. Natural gas was up 15 cents to 3.36 US. Gold was up 10.06 to 33.2372 US an ounce, and silver was up 63 cents to 37.01 US an ounce. Feed wheat is at $8.11 per bushel, barley is at $6.49, canola is at $15.56, and corn is at $7.26 per bushel. Live cattle August contract was down 55 cents to $2.19.22. Feeder cattle were up 80 cents to $3.21.27 for the August contract, and lean hogs are up 15 cents to $107.25 for the July contract. And the Canadian dollar was down slightly over the past 24 hours and currently sits at 73.20 US.
Recapping one of our top stories, Manitoba has declared a province-wide state of emergency after winds whipped up wildfires overnight, forcing thousands to evacuate their homes in the Garden Hill First Nation, about 500 kilometers north of Winnipeg, and the town of Snow Lake even further north. The state of emergency allows the province to open more shelter spaces for evacuees. Saturday, July 12th will be the inauguration of an annual National Day of Prayer in Canada. Pastor Giulio Gabelli is one of the organizers, and he'll share more about this faith-filled event coming up next. Also, when you see news happening in your community, be sure to send us an email at info@bridgecitynews.ca. You can also visit our website or YouTube channel anytime to check out more of our stories and interviews.
Saturday, July the 12th is a special day across Canada. In fact, a historic first for our nation. Believers from coast to coast will gather in Ottawa to participate in the inauguration of an annual National Day of Prayer. Pastor Giulio Gabelli is one of the organizers and pastors Westwood Community Church in Coquitlam, BC, and he joins me now. Pastor Gabelli, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you, Rod. It's such a joy to be with you today.
So this year is being marked as the first annual National Day of Prayer. So have these been held previously just sporadically, and that's why we're kind of going now to a National Day of Prayer?
Well, you know, the history of the cry movement, for example, that's been the time where many have gathered for specific times of prayer. But there never has been a National Day of Prayer within the city of Ottawa. We've also had prayer online, and that has also been very significant. But a National Day of Prayer, this is historic. This is the inauguration of the National Day of Prayer. So this is the first time for our nation, and it's going to be a defining moment for Canada.
Now, I know our friend Fétine Grassechi is part of the organizing committee for this, but who else? Who are the other organizers? What group has kind of come together to put together this National Day of Prayer?
Well, it's very significant that there's basically a cross-section, a representation from across the nation, a number of different organizations and ministries. When you consider, for example, when we think of the churches in Ottawa, the one-way ministries, or we think of the apostolic organization with Dr. Phil Nordine and David McGrew with the Ministers Network, a number of other organizations and denominations are represented in this time. But within the organizing committee itself, there are a number of us that form the core team that have been making all the decisions and discerning together and just putting together the program because it's very significant.
The Bible, of course, tells us to pray for our leaders, and we have seen a change in government this year. Some would say not enough of a change, but how important is it that we take this time and pray, not just for our country, but for the leaders, even if we don't agree with them politically?
You know, that's a very good question, Rod. Obviously, we recognize that Canada is at a crossroads. We really need God. And we recognize within the faith community as a whole that it's God's people that need to cry out to God, and it's God's people that need to pray for government and pray for our nation, all of our institutions. And the Bible makes it so clear from 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14, if my people who are called by my name humble themselves and pray, then I will hear from heaven. And that, by the way, is the spirit of this gathering, this National Day of Prayer. And so, regardless of what is happening in our nation, we really do need to gather together to pray, asking God to turn our nation around, because we want the favor of God to rest upon our nation. And so I really do feel that we are at a crossroads, but I do believe that this weekend, Saturday, is going to be a defining moment for our nation, and everything is going to turn around by faith in Jesus' name.
I want to take 2 Chronicles just a little bit further, because the last part of it says, and heal our land. God will heal our land. And does that maybe take on more of a special meaning in light of where we sit right now as a nation?
Absolutely, Rod. There's great division right now within our nation. When I consider obviously what's taking place, the Western, so to speak, alienation from Ottawa, when you consider the challenges that are arising even within ethnic, cultural groups, when I think of, my goodness, what is touching me personally, when I think of the alarming growth of anti-Semitism and anti-Semitic incidences that are being perpetrated on our streets and synagogues and visibly Jewish institutions. It is very, very concerning, Rod, very concerning. And I really do believe that our nation needs God to come and heal relationships and heal our institutions and heal our peoples, so that Canadians, regardless of their backgrounds, can say, we are here and part of the true North strong and free, our nation of Canada.
Of course, we know there are church denominations, and in many cases, some of those churches operate in silos. We know that. But what would you say maybe to Christians or church leaders who are listening to this, who aren't part of the National Day of Prayer, maybe thinking about it, maybe a bit skeptical to join in?
Well, the wonderful thing is that, as I mentioned right at the beginning, there is a broad representation. For example, we have the bishop, the archbishop of the Roman Catholic Church, that will be also engaged and praying. There are many from the mainline denominations that will be represented, as well as obviously the evangelicals that will be coming, the Pentecostal, charismatic. It really is a broad spectrum of the church in Canada that is gathering together with politicians as well and business leaders to actually pray for our nation. And when we consider the very prayer of Jesus himself from John chapter 17, may they be one, even as we are one. That is so critical. That is really at the heart of coming together to pray, regardless of possible theological differences or perspectives regarding certain topics in the scripture or doctrinal positions. It really doesn't matter. At this point, what is most important, if we love Jesus, if he's our Lord and Savior, if we love our nation of Canada, it's time for us to pray together, to cry out to God, and to see a change, a transformation, a shift, whatever language you would like to use or your hearers like to use, to see that happen for our nation of Canada.
I think the wording, I heard you use the wording, you think of it as a turning point year. 2025 is going to be a turning point for our nation.
Yeah, I'm firmly convinced, Rod, that 2025 is a turning point year. I mean, not only because of the prophetic declarations that we personally have heard from others, but I feel the Spirit of the Lord has spoken very clearly to me as I was thinking about 2025. And I heard the Lord say that this would be a very, very powerful and a very significant year for the church in Canada. I think personally, there has been a lead up to all of this. Many things that have been taking place in our nation. I mean, apart from the election that's been taking place, but apart from all the other situations that have been happening in our nation, it's clear to me that the Lord, I believe, is earmarking 2025 as one of those years where there will be a turning point, a change. And the fact that we're establishing this National Day of Prayer in this year, in 2025, we believe that this is going to be a tipping point for our nation. I believe God is looking upon this National Day of Prayer with great, great delight. and great favor as we're coming together representatively, putting aside every difference and just saying, we love Jesus. We love Yeshua. That, as I say in our Hebrew language, we love Yeshua. He is the Messiah. He is the Lord of heaven and earth. And we pray that he is the Lord of Canada, but that the church in Canada will be one again.
So Ottawa's the focus of the gathering on Saturday, but really across the country, if people can't be in Ottawa, maybe first tell us what's happening in Ottawa and then how people can participate in other parts of the country.
Absolutely. Well, our first gathering will be in a church in Ottawa, in the Metropolitan Church of Ottawa. I believe that's the largest seating capacity church in the city of Ottawa. That will be on the Friday evening. It will be basically a time to gather together for worship, a time of welcome and welcoming those that are coming from around Canada. Many will be coming that are not leaders per se, or national leaders, or leaders of networks and denominations. And so that will be a time for us to be gathering all together on the Friday evening. And then on Saturday morning, there will be a gathering of specific leaders, about 400 or so that have been specifically invited, leaders that have great influence, networks, denominational leaders, those that carry as well great authority in their spheres, as well as politicians and some business leaders too that will be gathering. That's on the Saturday morning, while at the same time, there will be the March for Jesus in Ottawa. And we're assuming that thousands will be gathering, not only with the Church of Ottawa that is there, but thousands representatively will be coming from around the nation and being part of that March for Jesus. And then we will all converge on the front lawn of Parliament. And there will be a time of prayer and worship and declaration, just thanking God for his faithfulness. And so that is the Friday night and the Saturday. But again, very specific reasoning, or very specific gatherings for the leaders in an undisclosed location. And then, of course, the March for Jesus, which will be completely out in the open, but then we will converge in the afternoon right there in front of our Parliament buildings on the hill, and together to worship Jesus.
For those who aren't in Ottawa, would you just encourage them to just take that moment and pause on Saturday at some point during the day?
Absolutely, Rod. By the way, I'm fully aware also that in our province of British Columbia, in the city of Victoria, in front of our legislative assembly, in front of our parliament, a number of churches and the Christian community will be gathering there, for example, to align with the National Day of Prayer, because there are many, obviously, that are not able to be in Ottawa, especially from out west. But here in the province of BC, we have a gathering of churches and ministries and leaders that will be gathering right in the city of Victoria, our capital, our provincial capital. And I believe there may be some other gatherings right across the nation. I understand that there will be a number of people that will be gathering in homes, gathering as families, and gathering in their own local churches, which is wonderful to see how they're sensing the call to align with the National Day of Prayer, even though they cannot be there in person.
Well, Pastor Julio, we're out of time. I know we could go on and talk about the National Day of Salvation, and in October we'll maybe have you back to discuss that another time. But thank you so much for joining us today and giving us insight into what will now be an annual National Day of Prayer. Thanks.
Amen. Thank you, Rod, and God bless you.
Pastor Julio Gabelli, thanks for being here. He is pastor of Westwood Community Church.
A Lethbridge-based cardiologist and medical director of Chinook Cardiology is embarking on a new role. Dr. Saye Zielke was recently named the interim CEO of Assisted Living Alberta. The new agency will provide Albertans with what the government calls a comprehensive system of continuing care with a range of wraparound services. Dr. Zielke joins us now to talk about this new role. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Paul. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Yeah, always good to have you with us. You've served in a variety of roles with Alberta Health Services over the years. So what drew you to this role specifically?
I was asked in December to chair the transition committee that was tasked with identifying strategies, pillars, and direction for Assisted Living Alberta as one of the new provincial health agencies. Minister Nixon had asked me to consider that role, and I had said yes because I felt like it was exciting. It is not my subject matter expertise as a cardiologist, but I do have enough interplay or interactions with that sector through my patients that I take care of, and I felt that it was an opportunity to serve. So I stepped in that role in December as a chair of the transition committee for Assisted Living Alberta. And as the organization became a legal entity in April, there was a need for an interim CEO role until one was recruited to the permanent position. So my position evolved or morphed into the interim CEO role, which I have had the pleasure to serve in since April 8th.
Okay. How long do you think it'll take? There's a transition period, so how long do you think you'll be there at the interim role?
So far, I have committed until August, pending a successful recruitment and onboarding of a new permanent CEO.
Okay. All right. Well, Alberta's population, we're certainly aging. When I look in the mirror, I see that, just over 800,000. I'm getting close, Just over 800,000 seniors living in our province, and about 2,500 Albertans turn 65 every month. So by 2046, 1 in 5, 20% of Albertans will be seniors. So with that in mind, what are some of the most pressing needs that Assisted Living Alberta will have to address?
Yeah, there are a few. One of the most important ones is ensuring that we are providing adequate, excellent care for our seniors to age with dignity in the place where they call home, whatever that may be, whatever that may look like, to be able to provide support in that space. Very importantly, right now, unfortunately, about 75% of our seniors enter the continuing care system through admission from acute care. So they are admitted to the hospitals, they are waitlisted for continuing care, and then they're transferred to the continuing care facilities. And there's a delay that is experienced by the patients and the clients while they're waiting for that transfer, which is not ideal. We are taking up acute care beds for someone that needs access to those services, someone who's waiting for colorectal surgery or breast cancer surgery, and on and on. It contributes to the wait times to the emergency department, but also it's not ideal for the client or the patient to be waiting in acute care when they need to be finding a new home. Every day that they spend in acute care is potentially a risk to their health in terms of deconditioning, not getting the services that they need, not to be up and moving, but also, as you can imagine, there's a risk of infection being in acute care as well. So it is our focus and priority to be able to work on creating extra capacity so individuals can move into continuing care quickly and easily, and also working with acute care partners and AHS in shortening the assessment time so patients are not waiting in acute care beds for continuing care facilities.
Yeah, we went through that with my parents. They've since passed on, but yeah, I remember how frustrating that was. They're stuck like you say, in acute care, and there's just no places available. So definitely something that needs to be addressed for sure. Now, Assisted Living Alberta, newly formed to provide what is being called wraparound services, quote unquote. Can you explain, what exactly is a wraparound service, and how is this going to impact the senior population?
Yeah, for sure. So, the aim and the goal of Assisted Living Alberta is to marry medical services with social services together to provide care for seniors as well as the vulnerable population and the individuals with disability, and to be a one stop shop for all those services. So, whether that is a senior or their family wanting to access someone's help for moving a fridge, or uh, going into or finding a space in a continuing care or assisted living space. We want to be able to provide that spectrum of care through the use of technology, all embedded in one organization. Because as you have heard the saying, where focus goes, energy flows, and traditionally, this sector has had to compete with other priorities in the healthcare system. So it's really exciting to be able to have our own minister, our own ministry, our own organization, and a vision to be able to truly concentrate on providing a range of services for the seniors in our population, in our community, as well as those individuals and clients in need.
Is there going to be any specific? You mentioned, technology, being used more so for this. Is there any specific kind of technology that's going to be put to use to find the right places for the seniors?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we are the team is very much hard at work at establishing a portal system, so a digital tool whereby we would be able to see the capacity in the continuing care sector in the system. That is now online as of last week in its early stages in a pilot form. We hope to layer upon that the need and the demand in the system for the continuing care beds. We plan to introduce some of the services that will be provided under ALA so that this portal will become a one-stop shop. So people can access the portal, the users, the care providers, as well as our stakeholders and those that provide the services all under one umbrella.
Okay, yeah. Hopefully it'll be very user friendly and easy to tap into. Now you were chair of the transition committee. You mentioned that earlier. That was tasked with roundtable discussions with care providers themselves. So, what did you hear from the care providers? And are these consultations something that's going to keep on going down the road?
So it was an incredible opportunity to learn from the subject matter experts in this space. So we had representatives from the different continuing care organizations, from the disability sector, physicians, all come together and provide some direction and input as to what ALA should look like. Very importantly, we also had community and patient representation in the committee as well. We took that information, but we also augmented this information and validated it by doing roundtable and stakeholder engagement, as well as a public survey and a surveying as well the AHS staff and interacting with them to be able to get all this feedback all together to provide a direction for this brand new organization to truly provide the best care that we can in this sector, because this is the first time in Alberta that again we've been able to focus on our senior care the way that we are right now, and it's a very exciting opportunity, and we can only get it right by tapping into the expertise of our stakeholders, our partners, our community, our patients and clients and their family.
Right, and is this going to keep on going as well, like down the months ahead and so forth?
Right now we are in the process of wrapping up the first round of
Okay.
engagement that we did, then the input, by having a public facing report that will be hopefully be published in the fall for
Mhm.
everyone for individuals to read and digest. And I'm sure we will create further places where people can provide input and direction as we move on through this transition period.
Yeah, I think it's important to always keep that ear, that opportunity for people to speak into the situation as they experience the changes, right? And is there anything really specific that jumps out at you that, is consistently you're hearing back from the various caregivers, this needs to change, that needs to change? Is there anything that's kind of overwhelmingly, yes, this needs to be a priority sort of thing, or?
I think capacity, wait time, the interaction with acute care, waiting in the hospital, not being quite sure who or where to go, not having one direct point of contact, all of that have come up consistently.
Okay. So this redesign of Alberta Health Services into 4 new sectors has certainly created some controversy. Now, the government believes this will address the inefficiencies, but what do you say to the critics who claim this is just the government inching towards more private health care? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so obviously I haven't been part of those decisions. The way that I see it from where I'm standing, again, is that this is our opportunity to be able to provide focus, clarity, precision to the continuing care and seniors care space where it has been lacking in the past. Ontario made a similar change, and the continuing care ministry evolved to be its own standalone ministry, and they have had quite a bit of success by doing so. So from where I'm standing for the work that I have been tasked to do right now, I appreciate being able to have the focus and the exact direction and the support to make it happen. Of course, I come from an acute care background myself as a cardiologist, but when you have the different specialties and the different priorities in the healthcare system around the table, there's a little bit of course, like you're competing for the oxygen in the room. So to be able to carve out something that you can focus on, I find that a really great opportunity to change the system for better.
Right. And of course, I guess, and I don't want to throw you into the political realm here, private healthcare or not private healthcare, but we should probably clarify, and as we're seeing in Ontario as well, this is not citizens paying out of their pocket. You've got to reach into your wallet sort of thing. This is actually still funded by taxpayer dollars. So the government is actually footing the bill on this, correct? So
100%. It
yeah.
has been all of the work that we have been doing has been to ensure that no one is left behind, that we're providing the most excellent care that we can imagine for all members of our community.
You bet. Okay. Well, maybe let's just wrap it up here, I guess, again with, what would you say, Dr. Zielke, is your number one priority in this new interim role?
To be able to communicate the vision of Assisted Living Alberta and who we are, the new organization, to be able to open and keep open the lines of communication and dialogue with our staff that are transitioning over, with our clients and with our stakeholders, be humble, be willing to listen and learn, and try our best to get this right for our people, because we are all in it for that reason.
Yeah, we want to basically make sure that our elderly population is taken care of, that there's enough capacity there, enough room for them to go, with dignity into the next, years of their life and being well cared for. So, yeah. Well, thank you for, all the time you're sinking into this. Appreciate it, Dr. Zielke.
It's been a privilege. Thank you so much, Paul, for your time.
You bet. Dr. Saye Zielke, a Lethbridge cardiologist and the medical director of Chinook Cardiology, as well as the interim CEO of Assisted Living Alberta. I'm Paul Arthur. On behalf of all of us at BCN, thanks so much for watching.